Hey everybody, welcome back to the listening room where we've set up another kind of a makeshift studio here where the lighting is a little better and hopefully the quality of the video is a little bit better. Today we're going to look at the little Nuemi speaker. Before we get started though, I'll answer the questions right now. The t-shirt I'm wearing, or should I say the tank top I'm wearing, was something that my wife recently gave me. She picked this up down at Westfest, which is a big festival down in a little town called West that's here in Texas. And it's a big festival of all things Czechoslovakian. And my wife is 1/4 Czech. So she brought me home this tank top. It says, "I love hot Czechs." And she said, "You should wear that in a video." Which I wouldn't normally do. But since she said you should wear that in a video, I am wearing it in a video. So that's that. Now, let's get to the little Nuemi speaker here. This speaker, it's kind of a cute little speaker. I mean, there's good and bad about this thing. It's very inexpensive. It's very lightly constructed, very cheaply made, but the drivers were pretty good. You know, pretty decent overall drivers. Good little dome tweeter, nice little woofer. It did have some problems though. So, was it a good candidate for upgrades? You've seen me doing some recently where I looked at some speakers and they just weren't good candidates for upgrades. And then some speakers are great candidates for upgrades. This one, I wasn't sure about at first, but I was able to do something with it and had some fun with it. Let's look at what's going on with this little thing. First of all, let's look at the on-axis frequency response. And as we look at it, you notice there's some lumpiness. There's some lumpiness going on here. There's a big lump right around 700 hertz, another one at 1200 that's big, and another one at 2K. And it looks like there's something going on right there. I mean, you could tell that's not a normal frequency response. And then I tried it with the grill. Let's look at it with the grill. And the grill, it's a nice little grill. It's held on magnetically. They did a nice job, and the fit and finish on this speaker is really nice too. The veneer or the vinyl wrap or whatever they've got on this, I think it's just a vinyl wrap, looks nice. The problem with the grill, it's got a sharp edge on the inside of it, so you never want that on a grill. You want to round this inside edge so that the sound has kind of a rounded, reflective area to kind of reflect off of, not a sharp corner. And this one has a sharp corner, so you can see a pretty rough spot there on the upper frequency range. So all that wasn't being caused by the grill. There was something else causing it. And if you look at the spectral decay, ooh, look at that spectral decay. Ooh, there's a lot of stuff going on there. A lot of stored energy right there in those lumps. You can see sometimes when you see something start to go away and then come back, it can sometimes be a reflection off the back wall that's coming back through. In this case, it's output from the ports. They shove these two ports right here at the front of this thing, and there is a lot of the information from the woofer reflecting back through the box and coming out these ports, and that's causing all of this that you see here. So what I did was I stuffed some insulation into the port. Let's look at the frequency response. Again, you can see kind of a before and after. I did an overlay on it, and it knocked some of that out of it. There's still a hump there around 1200 hertz, but all of that is knocked out of it. And as we look at the spectral decay, you see much cleaner spectral decay. So that was promising. That told me, okay, we can fix this issue, and I can probably redesign a new crossover or design a new crossover to fix that hump, and we might be home free on these. The impedance curve looked very balanced. Pretty good impedance curve on that. The vertical off-axis looked really good on these. And one of the reasons is the acoustic centers on the tweeter and the little woofer there are pretty close together. So when you can get those close together, as you go up and down, you're not changing the acoustic offset as much as if the drivers were spaced far apart. That's always a red flag if you look at a speaker and you see a woofer and a tweeter way above it, and there's too much space between those. Then you know as you move up and down, the time delay between the two will become much greater because they're already spaced pretty far apart. This one's placed pretty close together, and the vertical off-axis looks pretty good. horizontal off-axis drops off nice and evenly too. I don't see any problems there. So everything about it told me, hey, we might can do something with this thing. So I was able to design a very simple filter for this thing that balanced everything out. If you'll look at, let's start with, let's look at just the on-axis frequency response. The on-axis frequency response now is pretty balanced. There's a little bit of a dipped area there down low. I could have tried to bring that back up, but then it would require an aggressive notch filter to bring the peak at 1200 down. And I have a feeling a lot of you guys are going to be using these on your desk, and as a desktop monitor, you're going to get some reflection right off of that desk. You're going to get some emphasis down low. So I balanced it to where it would take a little bit of that into account. And so that's why the frequency response kind of looks like it does. Pretty smooth. And if you look at the crossover response, you'll notice the tweeter drops off really well. I mean, nice, smooth roll off. And the woofer's roll off, it's good as well. Looks nice. Horizontal off-axis response. It looks real good too. Nice and smooth. And look at this vertical. The vertical off-axis now looks fantastic. I mean, it looks great as you go up and down. It maintains a consistent response over a wide range. So this would be a great speaker, even in the near field. If you're sitting pretty close to it and you're a little above the tweeter axis, you're still in a good range there where it's going to have a balanced response. So that part worked out great. The impedance curve, again, nice and smooth. There's a little bit of leakage in the foam that I had, or not foam, but it's just some insulation I had stuck in there that I was using for measurements. You can see in the impedance curve, it's still acting as if it's a little bit ported. Those need to have some nice foam plugs put in this ports here to seal that off. It would change the lower range of this impedance curve a little bit. But overall, yeah. Oh, and let's look at the spectral decay now. Ooh, spectral decay now is clean. This is really clean. That's going to give a nice clean sound. If you compare that, let's go back and let's compare the spectral decay with the new crossover and the ports plugged versus the factory crossover with the ports open. You'll notice this is quite a dramatic difference in sound. I mean, if you really want to know how a speaker sounds, look at the spectral decay. That's how much stored energy it has and how fast it drops over time. So you're hitting it with a signal, and that roll off there that you see is how fast it dissipates that stored energy. And in this case, fantastic. So threw together a little parts package for it. All the parts, one set of tube connectors, which it really needed because these are super cheesy on the binding posts here, and new wiring. Came to $205. So for $205, you can really take these up to a pretty significant notch. If you want, I'll even throw in half a sheet of no-res for half the price of a sheet of no-res, because that's about all it's going to take. And you can line at least 3 of the sides with no-res and a little bit on the back, and do away with this hollow box sound. And now you got a pretty nice little set of speakers for not much money. It's hard to beat the performance of these with the upgrade included. To spend that same amount of money elsewhere and to get that level of performance might be pretty tough. Unless you build some of our kits, that's a whole different ball game, because you're not starting with a completed speaker, you're building an entire kit. But as far as taking a commercial speaker, doing the upgrades on it, this one turned out really well. So yeah, I liked it. I'll have this up on the website soon. You guys can just click on it and order it if you want to do this upgrade. I've got a lot more coming, so stay tuned for a bunch of new videos that are in the works. We can shoot in this room now a little more easily. I'm going to leave this set up so that we can just bring stuff in, and I can shoot during the day, hopefully without a lot of interruptions and things going on that's at the shop. So thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. I appreciate the subscribers, and we'll see you guys in the next video.